This is AV SuperFriends On Topic, a 30-minute monthly roundtable focused on a single topic. This discussion will be opinionated, to the point, and saturated with our well-known blend of painfully won expertise and deeply ingrained immaturity. For January 2023, it's the AV SuperFriends On Topic. Welcome back, everybody, and Happy New Year. It is a new year. We've made one more. So go around your house, change all your... No, that's
light bulbs, right? Change your light bulbs, or is it your sheets? I don't know what it is.
Remove your smoke detectors. That's what you're supposed to do.
Get rid of your smoke detectors for New Year's resolution.
CO2 up the limit.
Yep. Yeah, you want a little more CO2. It's winter, so you want to get everyone a little weird,
more drowsy.
And while you're at it, don't change your air filters at all.
No, keep those.
Are we
just to remind you of last year and all the fires and everything?
I like it for just general flavor of the house. Leave that stuff running.
Smell, flavor.
Yeah, you know.
Happy New Year.
The terroir of the house.
When scent gets heavy enough, it becomes a flavor.
I can't argue with that. I've been there. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so welcome back. We're gonna talk about some predictions. I forgot to introduce us. My name is Chris Dector. I'm joined today by Jamie, Mark, Rachel, Larry, and Justin. There we go.
Full house.
We're going to talk predictions for 2023. Since we're recording this at the tail end of 2022, we're going to talk about 2023 and what we think that's going to bring. Mm-hmm. But first, some quick AV news. And this comes from AV Network. And this came out actually on Friday when we were recording our live show. And we talked about, do we want to actually do this on the live show? But decided, no, we'll save it for a future show. So here it is. And this article is titled, Shure and ClearOne Reach Global Settlement. Mm-hmm. So I think we can declare this being a Festivus Miracle at this point. That this 27-year-long dispute has finally been wrapped up, I suspect with some sort of slap fight or possibly drinking contest.
I assume one of them just wrestled the other one to the ground.
My guess is this is like a family strife thing, like brothers and sisters hate each other, and finally mom steps in and says, knock that shit off, shake, hug.
We need mics.
We're going to live together. Right?
I'm going with my version of that. It was all just PR to begin with. There was no real piece of it. They were both just doing it for pandemic entertainment, and just any news is good news.
You know who's upset about this? The lawyers.
No, I think they all have new yachts now, Justin.
Yeah. I think they're at the point where they're tired of invoicing.
Free money. Our free money's over.
Mm-hmm. Well, right. Yeah. And that might actually be the crux of why this settlement came about, is that one particular company, that is to say ClearOne, used up all of their apportioned legal fees, and they said they're going to end it.
It was eating into their bottom line.
I think it is safe to say that is the personal opinion of one Christopher Dector.
Yeah. I'm on Mark's side now, because I think that neither one of them could actually get the chips to make the mics. So they figured if they just tied it up in legal, they wouldn't have to deliver product for 2 years.
Yes. I'm all for more conspiracy. I think that's the right answer all the time.
You've got me trying on my tinfoil hat here, Larry. I like that.
Somehow Yeti is involved. I don't know.
So the question on that, Larry, though, is this started well before there were any supply chain issues and pandemic issues. So
they just continued it to make the excuse, because
I do wonder how much of this is end of life of the particular products that were being argued about.
Well, you saw that when Shure announced the new version, they said that now it's a circle. So sue us now.
But they still make a square.
Until somebody else patents a circle.
And everybody else coming out with similar. I mean, it gets dumb after a while, and I think they just realized it.
Yeah, they look foolish. They both look foolish. And come on, move on.
At this point, and I understand, if you have a patent on things, you have a legal obligation to go out and defend it as vigorously as you can, because that is how patents work. That said, and again, this is just my opinion, but I think I speak for all 8 billion people on the planet. ClearOne is the bad guy here, so and I welcome that. I will continue to buy Shure stuff, and I will never buy another ClearOne product ever again. And that sentiment is echoed by many, many, many of my colleagues. So tough.
What happens when ClearOne buys Shure?
Yeah.
Well, I'm already, just because of supply chain, not buying anything from Shure, not because their products aren't good, but because you can't get them.
Because they don't exist.
Right. The statements made by Chris Dector do not represent.
Well, just because we have a disclaimer doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. But anyway. Anyway, so this 487-year legal battle is finally over, apparently, with the exact result that they could have done after about a month, and everyone would have been fine with it. But whatever. Any last thoughts on Shure and ClearOne?
What's the next one that's going to happen?
Oh, you think ClearOne's looking for the next people to sue?
They got to get a victory somewhere. They can't just.
There's got to be a lawsuit somewhere in our industry to keep things interesting.
It's the new normal.
Right.
Well, we'll look for that, and we'll report. You'll hear it here first, or about 7 weeks after it happens.
Exactly. One of the two.
All right, so let's go on to predictions. Last year, about this time, and you can go back and listen to episode 16, I believe it was, of On Topic. We discussed kind of what we were thinking was coming in 2022. Mm-hmm. I went back and pulled those clips, but first, let me see if I can set this up. So let's go back in time and listen to a clip.
Ooh.
And here is a clip from our show, so bite your tongues. There's our predictions for 2022. We'll check back at the end of the year, so just put a pin in this, and we'll come back and see how well we did. I think we did some high-level ones, some very kind of broad scope predictions of look for these trends or look for things in general to kind of move to this or move back to this, which will be interesting. And some of us pointed out specific technologies to look for. Look at your blockchain and look at your AV over IP. So we'll see how we did. We'll check back.
Look at us keeping our promises.
Wow.
And I promise I'm going to say I told you so at some point. I promised it's going to happen.
Over again.
So I went back and took notes on what everyone said, because there is prep to podcasts.
There's notes.
There are notes, and there are detailed notes at this point.
I was impressed by your notes. I went back and listened to it too and went, holy crap, he got it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's run through it real quick. I'm going to start because it's the way it's on the notes. I don't know where this actually came from. Actually, I don't know who wrote this first. But, Mark, you're top here. So what you said last year was that you'll start seeing specifically instructors and professors leveraging blockchain to manage content ownership, and then blockchain to track content access by students, and participation, specifically towards earning credentials. What have I done in various classes, and can these be counted towards credentials? So how close were we on that a year later?
I think it's happening. It's not proliferating to that large, but some of that's probably due to market influences that are going on within the crypto world and blockchain world. People are still asking about it. I think it's in the credentialing. Like, what does the credentialing look like? So I think there's some validation there. I don't think it's as large and as, pervasive as it was at the time when we printed that. But I don't know. I'll take at least 3% credit for that.
3% correct.
3% credit.
Though, to be fair, of everyone's specific predictions, yours was high level and broad enough that as long as there was any sort of movement in that field, you could probably claim
That's right. The needle's moving forward. I'm taking the points.
All right. So before we get to your 2023 prediction, let's run through all the 2022 stuff. So what I claimed or stated or stuck my claim.
We're going to give you points for stuck your claim.
I stuck my claim. I said AV over IP will eclipse baseband. And now for those of you who are already yelling at your car stereos, I qualified that with saying it's not going to be a across the board replacement, but simply as you're looking at new system designs and new implementations, AV over IP will be where you start, even though you were still using baseband video for things. And how correct are we on that? So I'm going to say I was 100% correct, because who the hell at this point is talking about baseband? I see Larry shaking his head already. Again, it's not that it's going to soup to nuts replace baseband video, but it will be the de facto where you're starting, even with the high level standpoint for designs and implementations and things like that. I also claimed the price delta would disappear, which I'm going to take about 50% correct on, because while we did not see that across the board, you can get legitimate, no fooling, reliable, cheaper AV over IP encoders and decoders, which drives that price point down to the point where you are now eclipsing, and here's where I'm going to take credit, eclipsing the high-end baseband encoders from some companies who aren't able to ship things. And then let's see, note here that the idea of leveraging AV over IP, and Mark, you bring this up all the time, is because you want that common kit of parts. You want something that is common across all spaces. Even if you're functionally doing things point to point, you will consider AV over IP as an option. So I'm going to take 50% credit on that. Any thoughts?
I'll take the other 50%.
Okay. We'll share it.
We'll split it.
Justin, let's see. Last year you said Zoom stock is going to drop because WKU and others are not going to use Zoom as much. I'm going to give you 100% credit on that. You are correct, sir.
That was correct. And
did you cash out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was very fruitful, and I alleviated losing my ass on that stock. So that worked out. And it's really weird because I'm seeing a lot less Zoom happening on campus, but we're adding Zoom capabilities very intentionally, and it's very sprinkled in. It's not blowing up.
Are you adding like no shit Zoom capability or just ubiquitous collaboration ability? Are you aligned with like the Zoom
brand, or do you mean Zoom as Kleenex?
Yeah,
I mean, we are Zoom capable rooms, not Zoom rooms. We have stopped building Zoom rooms.
Oh, that's a pivot.
Specific.
That is a pivot for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the money ran out. It's more about the structure of how WKU is built, and people disbanding departments is the real reason why we stopped doing Zoom rooms, because the people that wanted them own all the regional campuses, and we renovated all those, and now they're just sitting with 3 or 4 students per class in a 30-seat class. So I would like to calculate the ROI on that initiative. It's got to be super low. But we are getting, a lot of messaging. We are in person only. We are sticking to our guns on that. But then behind the scenes, teachers are asking sporadically, we need this room Zoom capable. And that also means Teams capable, which gets into my 2023 stuff.
Right. So again, we're not getting there yet. But when you say Zoom capable, they just want generic software-based video conferencing collaboration of some sort. Okay.
And it's very sporadic, and it's very intentional. And when we do it, it makes sense. And we're not doing it in all the classrooms. So I think my predictions were correct.
Yeah, so you were correct last year to say that, especially from your perspective, Zoom by name and Zoom by general technology will reduce in use. I'm also going to say, I'm going to give you credit because I know others, including Larry and myself, we're having people ask about Microsoft Teams Rooms, which is a change away from Zoom as a brand, as much as we don't like that. But anyway, we'll move on. Yeah. So, Jamie, so you claimed last year would be the year of I told you so, and also the year of whoops, that didn't work. In that the pendulum of let's make everything online will swing back, and we'll start to see pushback from the make everything hybrid land. But everything won't be all in person again. It's going to be kind of you're going to see things settle between the two extremes there. And that there was also a side prediction here that Jamie may be looking for a new job in 2022.
I can safely say that I am 100% take it to Vegas correct on all of my predictions for this year.
Wow.
99%.
74%. So.
But you were spot on that looking for a job, though.
We can announce that Jamie was indeed looking for a new job, and not because, we talked about last year that he got canned and everything fell apart, but just because, you should always be looking for jobs.
And, that was, and it was a pretty easy prediction from last year is we saw such extremes that it couldn't do anything but settle in the middle. So it was a pretty simple prediction from my end. And I think some of it wasn't just an I told you so, but a we told you so. All year long, we're like, hey, we've been saying things like, be careful with these deployments. We've been saying things like, be intentional and be purposeful and plan this out. And the folks who come back to us and talk to us say, that was right on. I listened to that. And so, I'm tooting my own horn a lot here, but I did it.
Congratulations.
I did it.
You're a champion.
So your prize is in the mail. It's coming to you.
Larry, you said last year that and I quoted you here, the crisis of it's good enough and home theater in a box meets AV teams. That basically you said good enough audio systems. We did so much slapdash work in early 2020 through late 2022, 2021, whatever. That people will get used to that and assume that's just what the experience is, and we're going to drive that bar even lower. I'm going to give you 100% credit on that. There is a lot of
ding, 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 ding.
I'm going to just say, let's see, garbage installs. I'm going to be really diplomatic, but it's trash. things that don't sound good. It doesn't look good. Yes, you get picture and sound, but it is not very good. I specifically want to point to all the people who use those stupid freaking Bluetooth earbuds on all their meetings, and they sound terrible. I don't mean the Bluetooth earbuds sound terrible, because we know they sound terrible, but if you're using those, you sound terrible on a call. So anybody listening to this right now, when you're on a call with those, we all know you're on with those, because you might as well just be talking into a can on a string.
Or a podcast.
Or if you're doing podcasts.
Or that.
Let us know if you're coming on our podcast, because we're going to send you a microphone.
We will help you with microphones. Larry, you also said that
I'll
you're going
send
to see
you all the audio equipment. I've got it all figured out. I'll send all the audio equipment to you. No
Do
problem.
not take Justin's audio equipment if we've learned anything.
That's a different podcast.
So, Larry, you also predicted that if you're on that IT-focused conference rooms will become a thing. So you're going to have non-AV people building IT conference rooms. I'm going to give you 100% on that, because we are seeing that. You said that smaller AV integrators are going to be struggling because the IT groups, internal IT groups, are going to eat their lunch on the easy projects that they can just do it internally. And I'm seeing that even here. So I think you're 100% on that. So I think Larry across the board is correct.
I don't know. I would debate that one. I'm a small integrator, and I've seen record
Justin,
numbers
you
this
pointed
year.
out, you contradicted yourself a year ago when you said all of your business is because you have these terrible IT people go out and break stuff, and you get to get paid to fix it. So
Exactly. So that's true. But
Just not what I say.
True.
Justin's small IT or small AV firm is basically a protection racket, is what I'm hearing. Like, that's a nice conference room you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it.
Exactly. That's exactly how I run my business. You got me figured out. Gave up my secret, man.
Let's see. So,
Incredible business model.
Rachel, you weren't on our show last year for this one, so I don't have predictions from you. So why don't we start with the 2023 predictions with your 2023 predictions? So what are you seeing that the next year is going to bring? So when we check back at the end of 2023, we can see where that landed.
My 2023 predictions are a reflection of my anxieties. I think that right now we're seeing artificial intelligence reach a point of true usefulness.
You're stealing mine.
Sorry. I'm a PR person. I write for a living. So seeing something like Chat GPT come out and and produce really plausible copy is very interesting to me, to say the least. And like the copy is not that bad. It's also not that good. So my prediction for next year is that we're going to see people use AI in real ways for content production, but that's going to cause content to get worse before it gets better.
So I just want to interrupt real quick. I agree 100% with Rachel. So last night, and I don't know what triggered me to do this, I opened up Chat GPT, signed up for an account, and I opened up the CTS prep exam. And I literally copied and pasted every question over into Chat GPT. You know what score I got? 100%.
Wow.
And you know what's funny? After about the 8th page of questions, because GBT will spit out like the reason why they answered something the way they did. And it almost like it got tired of my nonsense and then started answering everything with one-liners, like just the answer. It was like it was getting tired of me.
Come on now.
I swear to God, I've got it open still. I can copy and paste the whole thing. Towards the end, it was like giving up. I'm like,
you're
dude,
saying
just
you
here's
got,
the
like,
answer.
AI CTS cheating going on. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's a practice exam.
I think
So,
that
I mean,
we're
if you
going to
want to
have
cheat on a practice exam, go for it. I mean, you're just going to hurt yourself for the real
my
exam.
fake prediction
That
for 2023 is that Chat GPT is going to be awarded a CTSD.
Well,
Yeah, it very well could.
But that is exactly why this is a disruptor.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that
It was
that was going to be
wild.
part of what I had to talk about, was that everybody's really terrified of this, but then they're intrigued by it, but then they're terrified by it. And I do think that it is cyclical, that we're going to realize that it's not a terrible thing.
No.
And maybe it will actually make things in the real world better,
It will.
because we have to approach some of this differently.
I was on a learning tech conversation on Twitter about the Chat GPT stuff and how students were using it to write essays and papers and answer assignments and tests. And it really got back to the nature of education. Like, it will fundamentally redefine the deliverables that we are looking for from students, because they can give us the right answers all day long. We need to put them in situated learning situations where we can determine the learning experiences.
Are we trying just to get a thing from them, or are we trying to teach them?
Here's what's interesting when I was doing this last night. So I was copying the answers in, and there was a couple of them I didn't know. Oh, well, I'm not sure about that one. It's just a CTS prep. And when I read through the explanation, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. I actually learned something there. So it was pretty interesting using the ChatGPT to just copy and paste questions and have it explain how it got to that point.
Don't you teach the training for that?
Yeah.
Shh. He just had it readily available. He was just testing it. No,
I think Rachel's thing is valid.
It's okay to get too wrong on a practice exam.
And it's general. AI is going to make a bigger splash this year than it has in the past.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I think it does change, like you said, Larry, the nature of teaching and learning. It will force change because students are hunter-gatherers. They have been trained to go out, find the thing, bring it back, give me my treat. Right? That's how we formally set them up for their education. That's being turned on its head. Right? We're saying, great, you went out on the web, you got this thing, but show me how you actually put this into practice, and that's what I'm going to grade you on. It's going to change how faculty build their syllabus.
And there's going to be a fight because students are going to question, is there value in me showing you that if I had this tool that can always answer the question for me?
It's the same argument. It's just really Grammarly to the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, when Grammarly came on, everybody threw a tantrum because now, you couldn't grade English syntax because everybody was just loading it into Grammarly. Well, okay, that's ubiquitous. We just
And there's the dogs.
There it is.
we just all take it for granted.
It's all right. I mean,
just lean into it.
I
Jamie.
agree. You're taking that metric out. That's no longer a gradable metric anymore. So now, guess what, instructor? Do something else.
Yeah.
Jamie, real quick, you had mentioned that you and Rachel were kind of on the same page with AI. Any other predictions for 2023?
He
As
might.
he waits for his dogs to go.
An audio booth will show
We've
up in
already
his house.
heard him. It's okay.
All right.
Yes, but he's standing literally 4 feet from my
in your
face.
face now.
Special guest, Jamie's dog. What's your dog's name? Wolfie?
Dead.
Rex?
Dead.
Potato Masher?
Remington.
Benjamin Franklin? Remington?
No,
Bitey. Nibbles.
no.
That turned dark.
Remington Manufacturers, the
Higgins?
dog solution. No. So yes, that was one of the things I want to talk about because I didn't. The chat thing, GBT or whatever it is, triggered it more. But we also see AI coming up in the cameras and microphones, and we all think it's going to solve everything. The thing is, it's not always all that great, and we all know that. The auto tracking cameras, it's AI. AI drives the camera, and it sucks half the time.
Does it? Does it really?
So that was my point, is that it is coming along. It will be a bigger topic. It is scary, but it'll eventually do whatever it always does. That said, let's move on. My other prediction for this year, and what I'm seeing, what I think will continue, is there's going to be a renewed interest in funding training for the digital experience, both faculty and students. I am hearing more inclusion into syllabi and classroom and freshman courses of how do you behave when you're online. It's camera, it's actually put on clothes, it's get out of your bed, it's wear a headphones. That there is now it's rudimentary, it's the basics etiquette of online. But instead
30
of
years
just,
ago, this was called netiquette, and it was very clear on how to behave. So
Yep.
And I think those expectations when you're in class are set. Right? Here's the expectation: you're going to be here on time. If you have to pee, if you wait till a break.
Marketable skills. I can dress myself.
No, but this is the new work normal. Right?
Yes.
Where people are working remotely, and they're expected to come together as a group remotely through this digital technology. There is etiquette and best practice.
Not as avatars.
Yes, not as avatars.
But I think that there will be an uptick. I'm not saying it's taking over, but there's going to be an uptick, and we're going to see more course content, and we're going to see more funding for these kinds of training, not just for the faculty, but also for students. So both sides of that.
That's a good point. Even though they've grown up with it, your average 19 or 22-year-old might need to be told how you behave on a 30-person call.
On a, quote, professional experience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I like
okay.
I like that.
I like it. Yeah. So we jumped over them. Larry, what do you got for 2023?
2023, I think Teams will overtake Zoom as the new Kleenex of communications within education. I just think there's
I'm not gonna discount you, but that's a bold claim.
It's a bold claim, but there's so many factors and forces at work here that
there's one factor at work.
Money. And it's going to be there, and it's going to change a lot based on budgets and everything else.
I would see that prediction and raise you one different one. Is that I think in a similar vein, I think we will see more maturity in the collaborative piece of the LMS, and I don't necessarily think it's going to be Teams. I think an LMS will purchase some type of piece, and I think we've even said that in past shows. I still believe that.
I've been in Teams trainings for the past week. I'm real concerned that Teams will be the new LMS. There is so much you can do with
on learning how to do Teams, or you've been
in and out of different like Microsoft environments and that kind of things. And there's a ton to it beyond just what we would expect out of the get-go.
Well, and it's weird because Teams, it's not Teams, Microsoft, even years ago when everyone started teaching and learning from home suddenly in 2020, was it Zoom could do a maximum of like 16 or 20 people. It had some number, and then they upped that to 25 and then to 50 and then whatever. Teams could do 4. Those of you who remember 3 years ago, Teams could do 4. Yeah. And so all of a sudden there was requests, hey, we need more than 4 people. And you could find requests on Microsoft's support boards going back to 2016, 4 years prior. And their response was, we don't see that as important. Yeah. So the challenge here is, and I don't disagree with you, Larry, that Teams is going to eclipse Zoom at some point simply because of the licensing inertia, because Teams is free until it's not. But Microsoft, for whatever reason, the easy thing is like, just go look at Zoom and copy the features. Just copy all those features. But they're not. They're like, we're doing weird things and other stuff and we're ignoring you. And, you want to move your cameras around? Tough shit. It's weird. Their response to like what are now known as kind of commonly accepted basic features aren't there
Their
yet,
development is inside out. And they are very much like the data set and then how that is exposed.
Well, it's also clear I don't think
cameras,
they eat their own dog food.
in.
I don't think they use it. I think they're developing it. They don't use Teams.
The weird thing is like there are features I wish that Teams had, but as I dig into it, there are other features that are really useful. Like polling is built in automatically. Anyone can start a poll at any time. And there's things that the educator can use that Teams has built in natively. Mm-hmm. It just needs some of that basic stuff that Zoom and other things have already had.
And I think that Microsoft, with Teams, I will give them that they have thrown everything into that sink. And they have made none of it easy to get around for.
I was going to say, is anyone using Teams for your phone, your no foolin' phone system now? Is anyone? Yeah, because I am.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that there are now in Teams, you can have a window open and there are 2 buttons for calling. And one is to make a phone call and one is to make a Teams audio call, but they use the same icon of a phone handset. Good job, folks.
Why not?
Anyway.
All right.
Justin, what do you have for 2023?
Let me get my genie lamp out here and rub it. Let's see.
Put that away.
It doesn't look like a lamp.
Oh. So I think that I'm going to be dealing with a consultant that's going to be a pain in my ass. It's going to be a lot of back and forth.
You can't make predictions for something that's already happening.
You already
it hasn't happened
what else?
fully.
You've been texting nonstop about like all the troubles you're having with this particular consultant.
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, it's just going to start. So
Justin
I think
predicts
my
problems
year
with
is going to be
consultants.
involved.
These are going to be right. Next.
Yeah, I'm going to be dealing with consultants. But going back on Teams, so yes, Teams is probably going to start becoming more popular. And I think the reason is different than what most people think. I think it's just going to simply come down to only money. It's not going to come down to features. It's not going to come down to what it can or can't do, because CEOs and C-level people, and we're seeing it right now, are going, how much do I pay for Zoom? Mm-hmm. And Teams can do this too. Great. That's free. Okay, let me just do that without thinking through things. And it's going to be up to people like Larry and all of us to figure out how to make this shit work. And Zoom is going to get purchased. I'm going to keep making this prediction till it happens.
I don't disagree with you on that one either. So
I'm
Mark
telling
says something
you, like,
intriguing, maybe like Blackboard or somebody like that.
It'll be Amazon or something. Or some,
Amazon,
you know who,
right?
it'll be ClearOne.
ClearOne.
No, they'll sue them and just become
Because
owners.
what's going to
of it.
happen with Zoom, their board is going to get pissed off. They're going to start seeing that they can't make up the market share because of Teams, and they're going to try to Twitter themselves, if you will, out of Zoom and let somebody else deal with that bullshit.
You really need to set up a test environment for Teams, because there are some really intriguing things in there, and you're going to see it one way or the other. So you better get familiar with it.
Yeah, it's already around, and I think the nuance is in like the definition of an event to me, where one's a business tool and one is an event tool.
Right.
And
by
so
event,
often
you would consider like a class part of event sort of thing.
Well, I think Zoom is tailored to the event, where Teams is tailored to the business tool and the collaboration element. And they don't look at it at the same thing. On the surface from 30,000 feet, they look like they do the same thing. Experientially, they may, but they're aligned
but
differently.
Zoom introduced, like, you can do Zoom chat and you can do Zoom meetings in the sense where like a couple of people in a shared chat. So they're going the same direction as Teams is. So like Zoom started with events. I don't disagree with you there. And now they're like adding in the business communication tools. And Teams started with Teams is just a mess of like 7 other applications that they're slowly rolling.
Teams has an unfair advantage. They're already nestled within your business's organizational structure. So they're in deeper than Zoom will ever be.
Correct.
Which is going to be better, Zoom email, which just got released, or Teams?
That's called Zmail, Larry.
I'm just saying, like,
Register
they're
that
both
domain.
trying to be exactly the same right now, and
They're coming at it from completely different angles.
oh yeah, different
I'm
angles.
waiting for. How about this? They're both at opposite ends, but they're working towards the center. And Microsoft buys Zoom. What about that?
Oh,
Just to close them down.
Monopoly.
Just to shut them down.
Shut everybody down.
No, but if Microsoft, you see, if Google bought Zoom, then Google would kill whatever they're doing. But yeah,
No, but I have my weird prediction in there that was this is the beginning of the end of AV. I know that may sound shocking to many folks.
I've been hearing that for 10 years though.
No,
I agree with them.
I think the language itself is going to start to actually die this year. If you are not part of your IT department, you will be. You're good. I don't care if you're wedged in the library somewhere.
I think there's
you are
a
going to be
different
part of IT.
name there than die.
No, I think the language
transformed.
I think there a lot of language we use that would be synonymous with AV is going to just become IT centric language.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Throughout. And I think we're going to look back and we're at the twilight of AV, even as a vertical. It's just going to become IT at large. And that may sound really dumb, but
no.
I think there's like markers there. And I think
fight,
looking at the AV over IP and the standardization of all those things, all this collaborative technology we just talked about, and even the predictions we made last year where you have IT folks putting out these solutions, you're seeing it. We're being wholesale eaten in the AV
but it's
industry.
not good, and then I come in and fix it, and then they look at us.
It's good enough.
But it's not, because I keep getting phone calls saying that it's not good enough, and then people keep giving me money. So my point is I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying we need to maybe find a different word for dead there.
I completely agree with Mark. I think dead is appropriate, and I think that
so game structure is dead.
Once we
it's an IT skill now. It's an IT skill.
You're not Justin. You're not here. You're not here.
I think that it's
show your work. I need an example because I don't understand. Like, you're going to have IT people talking inverse square law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they don't have to. AI will.
Hey,
it's all AI.
So
they have to know what it is first.
Hey, reverse that thinking. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about firewall transversal protocols?
Yes.
Yep.
And can you talk
I know
about
where you're going, Jamie.
All the network securities? Even within IT, there's these specialists and these little. Can you manage the databases needed for SharePoint?
No, I cannot.
All of that stuff, right? Those are still specialties within IT. And AV will just become a new specialty within IT.
Yeah,
I get it. I don't
think
it's
not already.
Yes,
I agree with Justin. It won't be dead.
Dead is a wrong word there, I think.
But
we will have to
Absorbed.
continuously
Absorbed.
show its importance. Otherwise, we will be just like the telecommunications group
Yes,
that used to be
please.
part of IT and is
The-
no longer.
Plain old television service techs are done.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I
Dead
think
to me is very black and white, and it's very. I don't know.
You're stuck on the word dead, but
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I am.
I think we are all just in data wrangling.
So
At the end of the day, we are
Mark,
data
would it be fair
wrangling.
to phrase it as AV will no longer be distinct from IT? It will simply be IT
It will
I
be a
can't
wholly owned
disagree.
subsidiary of IT
and
departments.
Haddon Industries.
If you are not, you will be.
I'm okay with
I think
you're
the
not
bulk
already,
of
you will
yeah,
be.
you will be. If and surprise if you didn't see it coming, your IT workers, everybody
and
is
this
just
has
IT.
come up in the past, and we've phrased this. No, I have anyway, and also the royal we have phrased this thusly that AV is the most IT of all the IT departments because we do so much. I have more managed switches than the networking team. I am first touch responsible for more PCs than the PC team.
Right.
You know, I have more stuff and more areas of responsibility than the people who ostensibly are in charge of those areas of responsibility. So it's weird. But I think that only brings, to the thought that we are so IT that it's going to be relatively easy at a certain point to just make that transition.
In the
and then
past,
we're just part of it.
We heard it like, oh, the convergence. The convergence is done.
Yeah, it happened 15 years ago.
It's
if you
over.
missed it.
We're not waiting for it to happen any longer. Everybody is just an information technology worker at this point.
My vision on this is blurred because all I've known is being in IT and doing AV within IT, right? So that just the caveat to that, like I don't.
But I think that
There are places out there where AV is under the provost or under the libraries
Yes.
or under it's odd. But I'll tell you when that convergence happened, and it was the minute you started typing an IP address into one of your AV devices. Boom, you were done.
Yeah.
But I think we will see more of the language shift really start to happen this year. It's going to, I will throw one out there and we'll talk about it in a later show. And we'll dig into it. Compute.
Oh my gosh.
Son of a bitch.
So
That's marketing. That's
right,
a
and so-
completely different argument.
but
That's
no,
way
but
over in
this
left
is what
field.
we're going to start to see this type of language. It's going to be pervasive. It's going
correct
to
them every
it's going to
time.
I'm going to
sneak in
start
everywhere.
nouning
wrong.
all my or verbing
Right.
all my nouns.
So, but
Computes are wrong.
Right.
I have
we will get
I have
into
rooms
that.
full of projects.
Yes.
And rooms
yes.
full of
yes.
rooms full of
That's what I'm going to start.
speaks.
Yeah.
of
Speaks. Sound.
That's how you fix that is spin it back on them.
But I'm just saying that
gotta
language
use
is
the
going to
speak,
shift.
man.
It's going to move, and we're all going to be like, oh, I guess that's just IT language now.
Now, I would love for my IT people to understand inverse square law and light and wave.
That's just-
and all
it'll be a
that. And I'm
specialization.
educating-
It's just specialized.
I'm educating them.
You don't need them to.
Yep. You'll be service owners, but that's it.
Yeah.
But Justin, you don't want them to know that because they will then attempt to use that knowledge to do your job. Whereas what you want to do is be able to come in as the hero and fix all their nasty Logitech crap.
They
Well, I
may
can-
try.
I just want them
to
to,
do it.
understand what it is. Like they don't even know how to apply it. Just recognize that it's there. Like I'm just trying to get to that point.
It's there.
Mark, did we cover your? Yes, we did.
A little bit of that. Yeah. Well, I'll agree with that.
Anything else from you on predictions for?
I will be
Oh,
as
you do have a
bold
few
enough
more in here.
I had a couple. Yeah. I think we'll also see AR be agreed upon as the first and not VR in higher education.
You mean like as in pirate technology?
Yes.
I would agree with that.
And that we'll clean up that. It's a lot of mine are language cleanup. We're going to clean up a lot of language this year about all these ubiquitous things that are out there. It's like, no. It's not going to be VR. It's AR. That's what we'll see. Maybe it'll be XR if you really want to get into that.
Well, we know what it's not going to be is freaking goggles.
It's not going to be goggles everywhere in a class. And my other final one quickly is I think we will actually start to see a clear front winner in the AV over IP standardization
as hell hope
contest.
so.
Yeah, I think
Is it
you're going to see.
2110?
I take the under on that.
You think so? I think.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not that we all agree on it. I think we'll see a clear market share winner start to actually come forward this year.
Larry.
You could make the argument that there is a market share winner, but since they're not able to ship anything, that market share is going away.
That's not standard, as a brand.
I'm just saying, when you say standard, we're talking language. You could make the argument that language is just the
All right.
how it's referred to.
I will bite and put a little bit of money on there will be movement in that direction and a little bit of money, well, a lot more money with Larry of saying we're 2 years out from that actually
Maybe.
happening.
Yeah, 2 years.
Okay.
That's a good over under, but I don't see it this year.
By the end of this year, we'll be able to look out off of that cliff. I'm
see
not saying at the
something
beginning of this
happening.
year. At the end of this coming year, we will see and say, those are probably the ones that are going to win.
I should really
Okay.
sure hope it
Okay.
happens. It really needs to happen.
Let's see. So my prediction for next year, Students, this is going to be an easy one, and I'm keeping it high level, but I'm getting it here. So, students will increasingly demand the quote unquote college experience, and wonder why are they paying all these fees for a Zoom call, and will force and maybe to Jamie's point from last year, kind of a pendulum swing back a little bit from the everything hybrid. And I state that in a very specific way because this is an easy one to predict, but in the sense where we have a lot of departments and a lot of classes that are taught, and they start in person, but then they switch over to a hybrid model, and then they never come back. Mm-hmm. And we're having some student dissatisfaction from that has now reached the provost, who is having discussions with deans and chairs about it. So I think there will be an intentional drive to recreate, not necessarily the way it used to be college experience, but recreate a college experience and what that means, including some of these hybrid and high flex options, but not to 100% eschew them in the favor of doing all your stuff in Canvas. So
when you say the college experience, are you saying just the classroom part or the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying when the pandemic started and WKU was in person only, and they're screaming at us going, no, the college experience and in person only. And everybody else is remote.
So my prediction is that, and if you haven't had these conversations at your institutions already, you will, that there will be questions about defining what that college experience is, to include some of those traditional, like, that's why we have intramural teams and the pep band, going to football games.
A holistic view.
But also the classroom will be part of that conversation, because if it hasn't reached the provost at your school, it will soon. Because there are the people who pay your salary, by extension of their tuition and by extension of their federal loans, are starting to raise those questions, because why do I need to take classes at institution A, B, or C when I can just take them online anywhere, if that is going to be the accepted college
I can just do them online and use the chat piece and just put the questions in. And
if I can just use the
degree that way. Why would I not do that? Mm-hmm. Path of least resistance.
So that was kind of a lazy prediction, but there you go.
It's okay.
All right. So any last thoughts, predictions, or whatever for 2023?
We will have more shows.
There will
AV SuperFriends are going to have more shows and more different.
Well, you put a pin in that for a sec, Mark. Any last things from anybody else? And then we're going to talk about other AVSF stuff.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, this is our way of saying we're going to be around a year from now to revisit these.
Mm-hmm.
If we haven't come to your institution and done a recording, a live show from your office while you're trying to work, it will happen.
Go over and sign up. We're doing the tour.
We're taking requests.
Coming to your office. Yep. What's that series that NPR does with the bands come in and play?
Tiny desk concerts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we're going to do that unannounced and unrequested. We'll just show up.
You'll never know.
Office. Like a Mexican mariachi band at dinner time when it's your birthday.
When it may or may not be your birthday.
Yeah, I love those.
Does anybody else go into those places and give them $5 and tell them it's somebody else's birthday at a different table?
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that.
All right, so a couple of upcoming AVSF stuff. So this is really going out to people. So we realize that there's a lot of people who listen to this show right now through they subscribe through the link on higheredav.com. That's great. We appreciate that. We've got a whole bunch of other stuff you're missing. So if you're not aware of it, you want to head over to avsuperfriends.com.
That's right.
And there's some subscription links there to Amazon and Google and Spotify and Apple and all the places that you want to find your podcast. Do you know you're missing like 2 other shows a month? You're missing, we've got over 100 total episodes of stuff out there, and you've only heard like 27 of them. So if you haven't, head over to avsuperfriends.com. You're missing out on our Off the Rails show, which is really, if you want this show but longer and a lot more screaming and yelling about stuff that may or may not be on topic, that's where you want to be. We do perspectives recordings at conferences and trade shows. We've got conference presentations and things we've got up there. We do our live show. If you haven't been part of that, we've done a couple of those so far. Those are a lot of fun. And if you want to interact with us, there you go. Go to avsf.live, or you can just find it at avsuperfriends.com. But I think this is a good opportunity for us to remind anybody who's listening out there that there's more stuff than what you're getting through the Higher Ed AV subscription.
Yeah, and speaking of stuff, just remember, if you hate everything that we say, our swag is on fire. We give out literally some great swag.
There was a heating problem in Justin's garage.
Out there.
Yes. Therefore, if you really hate everything about us and you just want free stuff, let us know about it, and we may just send you free stuff for hating us. That's fine.
Yeah. Go over and sign up to the little, send us an email on the website. Go there now. We'll wait. Put your contact information in there and tell us something. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, put it in there. We'll bring it up. If you want to come on the show and yell about weird topics with us, let us know. We'll bring you on the show. This is the year we're going to reach out to you folks that are listening now. We're going to be more interactive with you all. We'll have some different things we'll announce as we move forward, but more interactivity from the AV Super Friends, and you, the listener, are going to be actively involved, and we're going to call upon you to be actively involved with this show. So
we might even send you a pair of goggles.
Yes, Chris's own goggles.
You can have them. I don't want them. They're terrible.
I already got.
They
them.
only go to Spain.
I got the red one. The red one's here. I still have those.
I did send
those
Justin
are the
goggles.
Christmas
For, yeah. Do you have your special
They're right
AVSF
here.
goggles? There you go. Look at him. Look how cool he is.
Boom.
So yeah, one other thing. If you're enjoying this episode, if you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, please take the extra step of telling someone else about it. So we rely on you, our listeners, to tell others about what we're doing. We can certainly get our, share as much as we can, but if you can get the word out, that's better. In fact, if everyone who's listening right now goes out and tells somebody, we're going to gain like 7 people.
Yeah, and you're going to get $1 from them, and then you're going to give $1 back to them, and then make sure you send it all to the address and website.
It's not a pyramid scheme.
No, it is
We
not.
promise.
It is a funnel plan. Always has been.
So yeah, please tell somebody about it. Share, spread the word. And if you have feedback for us, please, reach out to us. But like you to, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, please, tell others. All right.
Yeah, well, we made it.
I think we've ruined an entire show here.
Almost enough for an entire year. Maybe we ruined your entire year on the first episode.
It's a terrible start to 2023.
Sorry to start you off in the first week of January with this terrible, terrible recording.
Thanks for listening, though. Thank you for hanging out with us as we go into what year? Is this year 3?
Yeah.
Coming up on year 4.
Wow. Year 4?
Third new year.
Third new year? Whatever. Thanks for putting up with yet another episode of AV Super Friends On Topic. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.